Hello and welcome to your next module video. So we've already completed module 4 and 5. We're about to head into module 6, which is really the largest module, the most amount of work in it. It's not due until July 4th, but let's get into the 4 different parts and the assignment that is required for it. Alright, so part 1 is what the course is about. So you've already picked the course that you're interested in. You're hopefully narrowing down right now to the actual unit and strand that you want to focus on. So this is the beginning of that. If you're given a course code by your principal, usually he's asking for a course outline by the next day. So course outline is a syllabus. In high school we still call it a course outline, of course, where there is some specific requirements that you must give the students information about, and aka also the parents, because it's usually a document that gets sent home in a piece of it comes back signed as well, that you have outlined and told them this is the mark breakdown, how many units there are in the course, and given them as much detail as possible. There are plenty of sample course outlines on there. You're more than welcome to research more course outlines out there. I think I've already warned the ones of you who have chosen to do one of the equity courses that there's not going to be a lot of samples. So take what's in what I have there for resources and come up with your own. Usually the big debate comes around what to do with the knowledge thinking communication application weighting, the TICA or TAC or whatever you want to call it in your board. There is arguments to go equal across the board, so no matter what assignment you give, you're marking something that's required out of the TAC, everything's the same. Or you decide to change that and make it different, and you outline that on the course outline and give the kids a heads up. So say something like my cooking course, application you may want to be worth more than communication. So you might say for every single assignment we do, application is going to be worth 30% or 40%, and then change everything else around that. So there's a lot of math involved in that. I'm not a fan of math. I became an English teacher and social science teacher for a reason. But if you want to go through the math of that and decide yourself, there's lots of arguments both ways on that. So then you submit your course outline to the discussion area and look at other people's for comments and feedback. And then in between, I've slid in some resources for learning goals and success criteria. This has gotten much better over the last couple of years. When we first designed this ABQ learning goals and success criteria, I hadn't even really touched at least my school board yet, and now it seems really quite provincial. So things have gotten, but if you have not heard these words, learning goals or success criteria, then you need to educate yourself on them. They are the new buzzwords. If they're not in your school board this year, they should be. Like I said, it's really come around now, the whole province. Plenty of resources there on EduGains, what it looks like to co-construct a success criteria, and all of this is based on research, that if you're very clear to the students what their learning goal is, and you have them create the success criteria for them, that they're usually much more successful. So there's been plenty of research done, and that's why there's been such a push in the province to do it. So a few resources in there for you in between part 1 and part 2. But the second part is about how things are going to be marked. This is always what the students really want to know when they get the course outline. And what I'm getting you to think about is kind of a backwards design philosophy. So if you're new to secondary, there is always a 70-30 split for all secondary courses. This cannot be changed. So throughout the course, 70% of their mark is based on things that they do for you. So this could be assignments they hand in, tests, quizzes, observations you do, conversations with you, they do with you. All of that is 70% of their mark. Then there is a portion of 30%. This used to be very strongly just 30% on an exam, but really the philosophy now has changed towards doing another assignment, which tends to be called the culminating. It might often be called the summative as well, depending on your board and lingo and things that are used. I like to use the word culminating. So this is usually worth quite a bit of the exam. So something like my cooking class this week, their culminating is to do cooking around the world. So each kitchen has been given a different continent. So one kitchen has Asia, another one has South America. And then they're given one of the 5-course meal pieces. So they have Asia and they have dessert. So that they have to plan the meal for that, they have to do the research for it, all that kind of bit. And when they cook that, that's going to be worth 20%. And then on the exam day, they're going to come in and write a very short exam that's going to be worth 10%. So that is the big idea, accommodating the foods around the world. That's what I'm looking for you to post, is the big idea at the end of the whole course. What are you getting them to do? So some backward design. Because then in your unit plan, you should be thinking about that. What have I taught my cooking kids so far throughout the course so that they are successful in finding a recipe, making sure they can make enough of it for all 17 people in the course, making sure they can make a shopping list for it, making sure the measurements are in their way that they're comfortable in quarter cups and such and not in weights and milligrams and everything. What have they learned so far throughout our course that they'll be successful? Another example is from that HSP or HSB course. Usually that's very clearly defined because each strand is a topic, psych, soc, anthro. And usually the culminating at the end of the course for that one is they have to design a social science experiment, conduct the experiment, do the write-up for it and everything. So they're conducting that experiment, then they should be collecting data. Well, somewhere else throughout the course, you should have been teaching them how to collect data in the various ways to do that. So that's the backwards design thinking that you have to do with the big picture in mind. So that's what part 2 is about. Then part 3 is getting a little bit more narrow into the actual learning goal for the day. So looking at yourself as a teacher and your planning, you're going to review the lesson plan again, but you've already talked about those. So what I want you to actually do is find a sample lesson plan, and hopefully this is going to connect to your actual assignment 7. You're going to find something you can use for your unit. And then critique it, comment on it, like you're actually mining, looking for resources, things that you can use for your unit plan, and uploading that with some critiques. And then hopefully you're actually going to take that and redesign it for your assignment 7. And the last little discussion post in there is really that checkpoint at the end, that reminder of so what. At what point did you get them to think critically, think on their own, and go a little higher, a little stronger with whatever that expectation you're doing. And it's a short little engaging lesson plan idea that you can do in any curriculum, in any course, connecting what they're doing to the real world. What kind of newspaper, real world situation, YouTube video, whatever is out there right now that you can get them, that you can bring into the classroom and critically think. They're great things to leave for supply teachers to do, or those kinds of quick lessons that you need on the fly, shortened period days that you don't know what to do with. They're great little lessons like that for critical thinking. Okay, and then assignment 7 is actually writing me a full-on lesson plan. I know. So there is an Nipissing University template. However, if you have other templates that you like more, or you'd like to adjust the Nipissing one to suit your needs, go ahead. But I am looking for a very long, detailed one. And I am looking for a good one. So I'm not looking for the day that you are, a couple days you're going to watch a movie. Totally need to do that. I mean, we just finished watching Romeo and Juliet in English. There's certainly needed some great value in teaching that. But the lesson plan I'm looking for you to write, I need a little bit more detail for me to evaluate. Was there any DI in there? Was there any technology? How engaging was it for millennials? Are they putting down their fidget spinner and paying attention because it's that kind of engaging and that kind of exciting for them and related to them? So just be wary of the lesson plan that you're choosing for me to evaluate. Pretend I would actually be coming to your classroom to watch this lesson plan, and you'd be excited for me to come and see the learning that is going on that day. That's one I am looking for. And it is the only detailed one that you have to create for your actual unit plan. You can go really short. You can go into a table format if you want instead. If you're planning on joining me for the webinar, we can look at some examples of those as well. So this is your only really detailed one that you need to write. Okay, so that's a lot of things. There are 4 different parts, 4 different discussions, and the larger assignment. They're all interconnected though, so I apologize that it's a bigger module, but you kind of have to do one after the other in order for it all to make sense. And then after that, things are much slower, and it'll be much easier throughout, and you're really working on the unit plan. Any questions, feel free to email me. Everyone's doing really great in the course so far, so I'm looking forward to looking at these different ideas that you have for your unit plans. Good luck.